evening and welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour with me, Sabena Izoku. President-elect Muhammadu Buhari has arrived at the presidential villa for a tour of the facilities. He arrived exactly 11 a.m. and immediately went into a closed-door meeting with outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan. The president is expected to conduct Buhari round the villa. President Goodluck Jonathan has formally presented his handover notes to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari. The presentation was done shortly after Jonathan conducted Buhari round the presidential villa. He also handed over an executive summary of his handover notes as well as a copy of the report of the National Conference to the incoming President, Vice President Namadi Sambo, and has also similarly conducted the Vice President-elect Yemi Osinbajo round his wing of the villa. We'll bring you more details on that in a subsequent bulletin. President Goodluck Jonathan has met the nation's security chiefs for the last time as the commander-in-chief. The security meeting was held behind closed doors on Wednesday night at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. No official statement was issued at the end of the session, and none of the security chiefs agreed to speak for the State House correspondents. President Goodluck Jonathan has advised President-elect Muhammadu Buhari against restricting any probe he intends carrying out to his administration alone. He wants the incoming government of Buhari to take a look at other administration if he doesn't want to be accused of witch hunting. The outgoing president said this at the valedictory session of the Federal Executive Council at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He also maintained that he has not dissolved his cabinet because all ministers are expected to attend inauguration dinner on Thursday in their official capacity.
It's not as if we had no products, but they just refused to lift. Diesel was deregulated long ago. So the issue was not the product, but people will feel that they must bring this government to its knees, even when they know we have a few days to live. But we thank God that we are getting over it, and God will see us through. Some people are even calling for the probe of the government. I agree in Nigeria there are a number of things that we could probe. Very, very many things. Even debts owed by states and debts owed by this nation from 1960 up to this time. They say this is the Jonathan administration that is owing all these debts. And I believe that anybody who is calling for probe must also ensure that these probes are extended beyond the Jonathan administration.
Mr. President, sir, you will be remembered more by your quotable quotes. My ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. I conceded defeat so that our country will be peaceful. We need to have a country before we can have an ambition, among many other things. Congratulations again, Mr. President.
Our efforts are not in vain. From the dome of these council chambers, we sought to improve our country, grow our infrastructure stock, from Kashambila to East-West Road. We sought to revise the living standards of our people, and we offered them invaluable opportunity to have a say in the way they are governed. We had tense moments in these councils the period I was here. We argued, we laughed, we noted, we approved. Under your guidance, our ethnic differences melted in the face of your nationalist zeal. Our strong position shifted and accommodated because you were a true servant leader. You deployed 16 years of experience in driving a council where though tribes and tongues differ, we stood in brotherhood. Mr. President, you sought to build a nation where no man is oppressed.
Outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan has made a last-minute effort to get the National Assembly to approve the recommendations of the 2014 National Conference. This comes few hours to the end of his tenure as president and more than 8 months after the end of the conference. In the letter sent to the two chambers, the president outlined some of the areas the report touched on and urged the federal lawmakers to speed up its consideration in Senate And Senate President David Mark presented the report to the Senate without making any observation.
At the meeting of the Federal Executive Council on 18th of March 2015, Council considered and approved the report of the conference and resolved as follows. A, that the draft bills be transmitted to the National Assembly for enactment into law. B, that the recommendations, resolutions that are outside the purview of the federal government be forwarded to the relevant tiers of government for implementation. And C, that relevant agencies of government should harmonize the conference resolutions with extant policies for immediate implementation. Distinguished Senate President, the report of the National Conference is hereby forwarded to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for consideration and necessary legislative actions.
President Goodluck Jonathan and the National Assembly have finally settled the dispute over the ongoing Constitution amendment process. This development is as a result of a directive by a 7-man panel of the Supreme Court led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, on Monday, asking lawyers of both parties to broker a settlement talk between their clients. The court had then adjourned till Wednesday for reports of settlement. Counsel for the Attorney General of the Federation, Bayo Ojo, San, who instituted the suit on behalf of the President, and Adegbuyega Awomolo, San, who represented the National Assembly, told the Appeals Court panel that both parties made a concession before arriving at a settlement. The Apex Court adjourned till 4 p.m. on Wednesday to enable the plaintiff to file notice of discontinuance of the suit. Lawyers to the parties declined to give details of the concessions reached until the terms of settlement and notice of discontinuance are filed. President Goodluck Jonathan had refused to assent to the fourth alteration bill on the grounds of the alleged failure of the National Assembly to fulfill the mandatory requirements for the passage of the bill. But the AGF, on behalf of the President, who then filed the suit to challenge the passage of the bill by the National Assembly, following threat by the legislators to override the President's assent. The plaintiff is opposed to, among other provisions, in the proposed amendment of the Constitution, which conferred the National Assembly the power to pass an amendment of the Constitution without the President's consent. Minister of Interior Abba Moro has appealed to the incoming government to complete ongoing projects initiated by the Jonathan administration. The minister made the call after commissioning and inspecting various projects at the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Academy in Abuja. He attributed the nation underdevelopment to what he described as policy somersault after each transition.
That one of the greatest problems that we have had in administration in Nigeria is the problem of policy somersaults, of ministers and government agents and officials abandoning projects that they inherited from previous governments on the mere excuse that they were not awarded by them, they were not conceived by them, and therefore should be left to the dustbin of history. That is the bane of underdevelopment of Nigeria. I would therefore encourage the incoming Minister of Interior to take off from where we are stopping and take the ministry to the next level of development to add value to the life of the ordinary Nigerian.
The Northern Socio-Political Organization, the Araba Consultative Forum, has lashed out at the President Goodluck Jonathan over the state of the nation in the last days of his administration. The ACF pointed out current energy crisis and concluded that it was a deliberate attempt to hinder the smooth take-off of the incoming government. The group said in a statement by its spokesman Mohammed Ibrahim that Nigerians do not deserve the hardship they are going through at the moment. ACF added that it is not the parting gift the outgoing government should be handing out to the people. It also berated the outgoing president for the gale of sack and appointments he made few days to the end of his administration. Supreme Court has affirmed Raphael Gboshola as the duly elected governor of the Osun state in 2014 governorship elections in the state. The decision was made by the 7-man panel of the justice led by Justice John Fagbyi, which ruled that the appeal brought by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Iyiola Omisore, lacked merit. The Appeals Court argued that the appellant was unable to prove that the Independent National Electoral Commission did not comply with the Electoral Act. The court also upheld the decision of the lower court, which had earlier struck out the issue of electoral malpractices raised by the petitioner.
Of the Supreme Court, their decision is not only binding, it's final, and that is the end of the case as far as the gubernatorial election of Osun State has conducted is concerned. We have no further place to go in respect of this matter, and we have no choice than to abide with all the decisions, the pronouncements of the court as far as the issue relating to our appeal is concerned before them.
Our own kind of appeal, that is the cost appeal, was upheld by this court. More interestingly, the court advised that next time cases like this should not even come up to this court at all, because it has no merit at all. It has no foundation to stay, and it should not even come to this court at all.
It's a landmark judgment by the Supreme Court. Secondly, the judgment is also very important because they were able to distinguish the case of Said and Yakowa on the interpretation of Section 18, Subsection 4 of the First Schedule of the Electoral Act by saying that non-compliance with filing of Form TF 07 and TF 08 to kickstart the hearing session is fundamental, and any petitioner that does not comply with that would be deemed that his petition has been abandoned. Thirdly, on whether Interpretation Act will be interposed in computation of time for the post-election petition, it's also a landmark, clear, authoritative pronouncement of the Supreme Court that henceforth Interpretation Act is no longer allowed for the purpose of computing time in election petition.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, the CoreTV News on the hour continues. Just stay with us.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that should be consulted.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it is about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
Welcome back to the news. For more information, you can reach us on any of our social media platform on facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow us on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. For news updates and other program, you can stream us live on youtube.com/CoreTV and the news. A group of senator-elects backing the aspiration of Senator Ahmed Lawan for the Senate presidency says 4 senators elected on the platform of the All Progressive Congress has endorsed the Yobe North lawmaker. The Senate Unity Forum disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja a few days after the Senator Bukola Saraki provided a document signed by 34 out of 59 APC senators elect. But in response, the group leader Barnabas Gemade noted that all 40 senators elect who have expressed support for Lawan will be unveiled to the public in due course. The forum also revealed that its members are already reaching out to their colleagues from the People's Democratic Party.
That will defer all other items.
It is still more than 1 week to the inauguration of the 8th Senate, but the main contenders to the position of Senate presidency are not resting on their oars. Ahmed Lawal, who seems to be enjoying the support of some APC leaders, is already being described as Senate president designated by his backers. Members of the Senate Unity Forum showed up at the news conference, brimming with confidence. This, the leadership say, is because they already have the commitment of 40 APC senators elect.
We have about 40 senators elect that have keyed in on this project. We do wish to launch such a list when they have all returned to Abuja. APC senators. That is the point of correction, not 40 senators altogether. APC senators. And we know that there's a large number of PDP and other party senators elect that are also keyed in on this project.
But the snitch Bukola Saraki had few days ago insisted that he has 34 already signed up to back him out of 59 APC incoming senators.
Whatever they tell you, this is a letter that we submitted to the chairman. People's name, signature, and that ends at 34. This is not, it's a letter with the party chairman now. So if they say at 37, you say 34 to 37, 71, let them send this 37 or show you like this and send it to the chairman. This is not, these are names. This is not fake. Huh? Look at where.
So, who is not tinkering with numbers? The Senate Unity Forum says it is prepared to prove that it has an advantage over the Saraki group.
We have had about 8 years of stability in the Senate. And therefore, it's something that I would like to build on. I spoke about the independence of the legislature. Until we are able to be independent of the executive, we cannot properly position ourselves to undertake our responsibilities and discharge our mandate. There is need for us to always build consensus in the Senate, in the 8th Senate, and you will agree with me that the 8th Senate is unlike any previous Senate.
A list with signatures does not prove anything. First of all, you must get the person physically to tell you that, yes, my name on that list is by my authorization. 2, the signature on that list was signed by me. We want to show you a list when all the people concerned are sitting with us. So if you are making your inference to the fact that one group shows a list and another does not, and therefore one of them is lying, we will not be the ones to show you who is lying. I think it will be your business to find out who is lying.
For now, none of the candidates is prepared to back down, even as APC leaders are insisting that they will not interfere in the process. Their supporters are also digging in and have been engaged in horse trading, as well as reaching out to the 49 PDP senators elect.
Ahead of the May 29th handover ceremony, a charity football match has been held in Kaduna State as part of activities to usher Nasir El-Rufai as the new state governor. The match was organized by Kaduna State sports stakeholders, and it pitched a team led by the governor-elect against selected stars. Amina Anebi has more in this report, which is presented from our studio.
The football match was in 2 phases, starting with the Kaduna selected stars against Kaduna United. Later, a team led by the governor-elect engaged Kaduna State veteran stars. Before the game, the governor-elect appreciated the concept and noted that the state will witness a lot of good things.
We believe sports is a way to earn revenues for Nigeria. This state of Kaduna has produced international stars like Tijani Babangida, Amokachi, Garba Lawal, and so on, and we are hoping to replicate this by training our youths to be football stars that will play for Arsenal and other teams, not Manchester United, just Arsenal and so on.
Former Super Eagles player Tijani Babangida took part in the match. He expressed happiness at being part of an idea to honor the governor-elect.
People's governor loves sport, because what he showed today really will give a lot of confidence for the young ones, that they have a governor that loves sport, they have the governor that is going to help the youth in sport. That's a very good thing the governor did, really.
The organizers believe that the new government will make sports one of its major priorities. Aside from the football match, Governor-elect Nasir El-Rufai engaged his deputy in a game of table tennis. And while all these were run, a group of youth who had gathered at the stadium kept chanting, "Say."
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has expressed its readiness to obey the court's judgment, which orders its operators to vacate the Lagos residence of Senate-elect for Ogun East Senatorial District, Buruji Kashamo in Lekki. The agency said this in a statement issued by a spokesperson, Michelle Ofoyeju. It, however, did not specify when its operators would leave. The NDLA had on Tuesday said it was not in possession of any court order to leave the Kashamo's resident house after it was pronounced by Justice Ibrahim Buba of the Federal High Court in Lagos. Despite the order by the Federal High Court in Lagos that Ogun East Senator-elect Buruji Kashamo Lagos residents be vacated by men of the NDLA who have laid siege at his residence since Saturday, the drug enforcement men are still at his residence on a visit to the Lekki Phase 1 residence of the Senator-elect. The enforcement agency was still fully on ground and restricting movement, especially pressmen. Some residents and cab drivers say total movement was restricted yesterday by men of the agency who do not seem in a hurry to go. And away from that, the Bring Back Our Girls group on Wednesday organized a special sit-out to commemorate 2015 Children's Day celebration in honor of the adopted Chibok girls. The event, which was anchored by children, took place at the Unity Fountain, Abuja, where a renewed appeal was specifically made to the incoming government on the rescue of the girls. Coordinator of the group, Obi Ozekwesili, also used the occasion to reaffirm the need for children to be given assurance of a comfortable existence.
We have failed our children in not being capable of running our nation in the way that it has a peaceful and conducive environment for our children to acquire the kind of education that got us as far as we have come today. Our children are our investment. They are the guarantors of our future as a nation.
And outside Nigeria, FIFA President Sepp Blatter has chaired an emergency meeting under growing political pressure over a corruption scandal that saw arrest on Wednesday. UK Prime Minister David Cameron is calling for Blatter's resignation, while Russian President Vladimir Putin has backed Blatter for a 5th term, but Blatter says he has no intention of resigning. Friday's presidential election will now go ahead, and UEFA, which had threatened a boycott, says it will attend. The head of UEFA, Europe's football body, Michel Platini, had asked Blatter to resign after the crisis talk in Zurich, which involved heads of 6 international confederations, and key sponsors have also expressed concern over the twin corruption investigation by the US and Swiss authorities. Platini met Blatter one-on-one after the talks and asked him directly to step down, even though Blatter was not among the total of 14 people charged by the U.S. authorities on Wednesday with racketeering, fraud and money laundering. And that's it on the news on the hour. Do join us at the top of the hour, and that's by 4. I am Sabina Soki. Thank you very much.